From 2015 to 2020, Ambassador Erdan was Minister of Public Security, where he ensured the security of Israeli citizens during a period of heightened terrorist attacks. His innovative approach included preempting attacks with advanced technologies used to identify terrorists ahead of time. From 2015 to 2020, Ambassador Erdan also served as Minister of Strategic Affairs, where he coordinated the government's strategy against the Palestinian-led efforts to delegitimize and boycott the State of Israel. Ambassador, that position, I am sure, prepared you very well for what you face every day at the UN General Assembly and other UN bodies. Ladies and gentlemen, Ambassador Gilad Erdan.
Thank you, Hillel, for that warm introduction and for everything you do for the State of Israel and the Jewish people. Under your leadership, UN Watch has become a leading voice in defending Israel in the international arena. We all owe you a great deal of gratitude for your dedication to truth and justice. Friends, the new UN Watch database is an incredible resource, not only for those who are already committed to fighting the bias against Israel at the UN, but for sharing the truth with those who are not aware of it yet. Unfortunately, too many people, organizations, and countries are so rooted in their anti-Semitic positions that they are unable to even consider objective evidence and acknowledge the shortcomings of the UN and its bias against Israel. But the facts speak for themselves. The Human Rights Council, with a stunning 60% of its members not being democracies, has a special agenda item 7, designed for the world's only Jewish state. We have also been the subject of more special sessions at the Human Rights Council than any other country, and have more resolutions adopted against us than any other country, including Syria, Iran, and North Korea. Many Israel-related resolutions at the UN include harsh and inflammatory language not included when discussing other countries. For example, Israel is labeled an occupying power, a term that is not used in any other conflict. Such resolutions, including the so-called Palestinian package of anti-Israel resolutions, are passed using the automatic anti-Israel majority. This majority is a result of the voting dynamic at the UN, in which countries vote according to their blocs. This absurd system has created a reality in which countries support resolutions because that is the way their bloc is voting, not because of their content. Just to highlight the insanity, while the General Assembly and Security Council passed hundreds of resolutions condemning Israel, we are all still waiting to see even one resolution condemning Hamas or Hezbollah. These and the numerous other examples of the UN's moral failings and transformation into a shameful, politically motivated body have made many people skeptical about the institution's motives and its ability to facilitate real change. While the skepticism is warranted and even crucial, the cynicism is dangerous. Ben-Gurion famously dismissed the UN as shmum. Over the years, it has grown even more deserving of this disdain. Yet, we must not discount its power. The fact that some countries still submit themselves to the UN's leadership means that the institution can have a real impact on Israel. Often, the anti-Israel sentiment of UN resolutions and statements is taken at face value. In some countries, they find their way into national discourses and even legislation, many times with the aid of those who attempt to boycott and delegitimize Israel. They use the UN's lies and one-sided language as a cloak of legitimacy to hide their anti-Semitic ambitions while continuing to fan the flames of hate. A recent example of how a UN General Assembly resolution can have a major effect on Israel is the morally bankrupt and distorted decision by the outgoing ICC prosecutor to launch an investigation against Israel. Her decision was enabled by the ICC pretrial chamber, which asserted that it has jurisdiction over issues in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. To reach that outrageous conclusion, the majority opinion relied on the disgraceful United Nations General Assembly resolution of 2012, which has come to be known as rendering the Palestinians a so-called non-member state at the UN. They claimed that this political and non-binding General Assembly resolution passed with the automatic majority against Israel was sufficient to establish jurisdiction for the purposes of the court. The court's outrageous decision speaks volumes about the politicization and anti-Semitism that has commandeered the ICC. But it is also a cautionary tale of what UN resolutions can result in. We, at Israel's mission to the United Nations, fight against anti-Israel bias every day. And while we have seen a lot of success, when I sit in Security Council meetings and hear member states repeat the lies fed to them by the Palestinians, or see countries continue to blindly vote for their despicable resolutions, I'm reminded that we still have a lot more work to do. We are glad to have Hillel and UN Watch by our side, but we need your help as well. We cannot allow the anti-Israel lies spewed at the UN to go unchallenged. They must be called out wherever and whenever we hear them. The new UN Watch database is a great resource to learn more and take action. It is a phenomenal tool that can have a real impact. Friends, peace is spreading in the Middle East, and the anti-Israel consensus in the region is crumbling. I believe that the effects of the Abraham Accords will soon be felt at this institution as well. That the new voices emerging from within the Arab world accepting and embracing Israel will grow louder and turn into votes for truth and peace at the UN. Until that day, we will draw upon the invaluable work of UN Watch and, of course, on your dedication to the State of Israel. While this is not an easy battle, it is an important one, and with your help, we are making real progress. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Ambassador Erdan, for your powerful remarks and for your kind words. We wish you every success in your mission, and UN Watch will continue to be here as a partner in combating anti-Israeli bigotry at the UN.